Howdy, howdy, everyone. Hope everyone's been good. Oh, whoops. Hope everyone's been doing good. Um, so this video is kind of, it's going to be similar, but on the same kind of topics, but just a little different. So today, I'm talking about, like, I would say mainly addiction and why people do the escapism, trauma, pain, stuff like that. And going to talk to you guys a little bit about something I went through when I was younger. And I haven't really told many people about this. It involves the troubled teen industry. I don't know if some of you guys might have heard it, and some of you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'll get into that. So, along with, as you guys know, me getting hurt, that's kind of where I started my spiral. But prior to that, I was trying to get messed up any way I possibly could, you know. Once the older I got, the older I got, the more I realized that things that I've been through in the past messed me up more mentally than I previously thought or I realized. So, the unhealthy way of going about it was a finding escape, as most people do. Why I feel like there's most addicts and most people do drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, which kind of led me to kratom. But sorry, I got some stuff in my throat. When I was younger, I was sent to a place called Spring Creek Lodge Academy. It was under this umbrella called WASP, WWASP, Worldwide Association of Specialty Schools, and it was, how do I say this? It was terrible. It was, there was a lot of abuse going on there, a lot, from physical to sexual. It's high demanding. I mean, I did learn a lot of good lessons there, don't get me wrong, but they were good lessons from the worst of humanity, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that, like, for instance, my sister went to the same school I went to. It was in Thompson, well, not in Thompson Falls, but it was outside of Thompson Falls, Montana. And pretty much the whole county, I don't remember what county it was, but the whole county, basically, a lot of it was employed through these. And I mean, we're not talking about, these weren't some professionals. Most of the time, they were a bunch of rednecks and missing teeth, out there hunting, country folk living deep in the mountains. The location was beautiful, but everything else was hell. So my sister went there, I'd say about a year before I did, and one day I woke up, she was just gone, and my mom was just like, man, I don't know, and that really fucked with me, honestly, because my sister at this time was my best friend. We started getting in the bad stuff. We hated each other, as most siblings did. We would fight each other, just as typical siblings would do. I hated her friends hated my friends. She's older than me by like I think 16 months. So, but at this time we started getting along, and we started bonding through drugs. And we realized, I was real young at this time. I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. So that time, my mom wasn't really around. She worked full time, and she went to school full time to give us a better life, as she called it. But that was all just a facade, honestly. I think she might have had good intentions, but it was always, men were more important in her life than her children were. And that has followed us throughout our lives, and now, some of our siblings have taken on that trait, which is sad. But anyways, growing up, we grew up poor. not extreme poverty, but we weren't wealthy by any sort of means. Didn't have a dad around. He died when I was real young. Um, so yeah, I mean that definitely had an effect. If I had a dad around, from what I hear, he was a pretty bad dude when he was living. Again, I don't know because you can't speak to the dead, but this is just what I've heard and what I know. um, Guy, he was involved with a lot of crime. He was a wild guy for sure. From what I hear, he rode bikes, he did all that whole scene. Don't want to get too much into it because that's getting off topic here, but um, so growing up, of course, without a dad around, the things just kind of go off whack. And I lived with pretty much my entire family. There was a lot of us. I have two aunts, which one of them died when she was real young before I was born. And then I got two uncles. And at one point, we all lived in a house down in Las Vegas. And they were all going to school and doing that. So it was very crowded. There was a bunch of us. I mean, this was a kid. I just remember bits and pieces of that part of it. The one thing I remember is when we moved into this tiny little place. I thought it was the greatest thing ever because we had our own place, we had our own spot, and life was feeling like it was coming down. But when you have zero adult supervision and you're running the streets of Vegas, you get into trouble. bad shit follows quick, obviously. I probably wouldn't look like this if I had family around and, more concrete, I guess, supervision. The family I did have around, my grandma and grandpa, they basically raised most of me. My aunt, she is my fave. She's been there. She was the one that her and her ex-husband, my uncle growing up, they were the ones that really whooped my ass into shape. But back to Spring Creek. So I wake up, my sister's gone completely. My mom's just acting super shady about it. She has no idea. And later, a little over a year later, I found out what happened to her because I didn't know, and nobody would tell me. Just she went to go get help, right? Sorry, got all this stuff in my throat. So what happens is they come get you, middle of the night, throw cuffs on you. Put a bag over your head. Obviously not, to strangle you or anything, but so you can't see. You get driven around, basically, hop on a plane if you're far enough. I flew from Colorado, because I lived up with my aunt, because my mom couldn't handle me. My mom flew me into Colorado, lived with my aunt. So from Colorado, flew to Spokane, Washington, and I was handcuffed, and they drove me from Spokane all the way up to Montana. Stopped halfway to get with some other guys, which still in handcuffs the whole time. So I get to this place, don't know anything, haven't talked to my mom, don't know a damn thing what's going on, They shave my head, take all my stuff away, say I'll get it back. That was a lie. I never saw any of that stuff again. Took a picture. We were put in these things called families, right? And they were just groups of bums. Just imagine a big empty room with 10 bunks, so 20 beds total. And that was basically where we lived. They were trying to teach us how to be more respectful, how to be better adults, or better young adults to be better adults, but a lot of it was bad. There was a lot of pain. Remember getting drug out, getting my ass beat several times. They would starve us sometimes. They would turn us against each other, like, oh, well, you're not going to eat because this guy did this. So, of course, when you haven't eaten in a couple of days, you get a little on edge, a little savage. And the way to get out of this is to turn 18 and graduate, or turn 18 and get yourself out, graduate, which was very hard to do because everything's based on a system basis, or 3, die. And a lot of kids chose that option, self-inflicted or not self-inflicted. And it's just hard because it's like, unless you've been through it, unless you've seen it, no one's gonna believe you. while we were there. We couldn't talk to our parents when I found out this later, but when we went there, they had to give up rights to us. So we had no rights. There was no child protective services in that county of Montana. They were very strategically placed. They were all over America. They were all over the world. We had them in Jamaica. Um, we had them in Jamaica, the Czech Republic, a couple states through America, but all these places were very lightly or no CPS. Jamaica was the worst from what I hear. I think it was called Paradise Bay or something like that. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. It's been a long time. It's gonna come to me randomly, but so I went there for several years, and I mean it was hell. You really had to fake it till you make it. So every day you got these point systems, and you had to get so many points to advance. You got to get away all the way up to level 6, and then you're out. But I mean, you couldn't talk to your parents. If you did want to write them, they were heavily like monitored, so you couldn't be like, oh man, this is what's going on here. You just gotta say, hey, it's great, everything's great, I love life, this is awesome. And the crazy part is that sorry, my eye keeps twitching. There were kids that have been dead, and their parents are paying and paying and paying for a child that's been dead and buried in a shallow grave, you know. And it's just insane. I can't imagine now that I have children. I could not even imagine what that's like to be that parent, to find that out. There's a lot of things that happen there that I'm not really ready to talk about fully. But just know it was a bad place, and things have finally come out. Piece by piece. But you could look it up. Like I said, WASP, WWASP. But they're everywhere. So, like I said, if you don't know, it sounds crazy. It does. It sounds crazy. But that was probably the most traumatic time, because I needed my mom at that time. I needed adult supervision. I needed to grow as a child. I was going through puberty. I was a young adult. I was very young. When I got out, I was 15. When I went in, I was pretty young. So pretty much my whole puberty, I was in that place. And I mean, we had to walk in sync, staring at the back of the heads. If not, we get a bar to the side of the face. We had it was just crazy. We couldn't look at the opposite sex. I remember the first time I saw my sister, I ran up and hugged her, and they beat the living shit out of both of us in front of everybody to make an example. I missed her so much, and I just cried and cried and cried, and I didn't care. And I got one of the worst ass beatings of my life. Worth it though. So that's just a little bit. But since then, that's always messed with my psyche. And same with my sister. Once we got out, my sister now is a recovering addict, and I'm so proud of her, because she has been an addict for a long time, and now she's finally good. She's got custody of her kid. She's doing good in her life, and it's like, I understand when people are trying to get away. I have been blessed. I've never been sexually assaulted or molested or raped or anything like that in my life. Prison, some things tried to happen like that, but I'm blessed that it didn't go down that path. And I was a little smarter than your average dude in there. So but I understand pain. Everyone has pain. Pain is pain. And I get why people will go down that path of addiction. And it's like, I don't know, about 95% of the comments I get is just great. I love hearing from everybody. I love people's stories. Keep fighting. I hear a lot of people saying, they want to quit and they want to tamper down and all that. And I'm like, please do it. Keep it up. Because your mental state, if you ain't good up here, you ain't good anywhere. You won't find love. You won't find self-love, especially if you don't love yourself, you won't love anyone else, like truly. And that's something I have to cope with and deal with. I was on a bunch of medications, and I was taking medications to take care of the side effects of other medications. And I'm so glad that I got off all of them. I mean, again, I know there are people that seriously need them, and who will go that. I mean, I'm not epileptic. Have seizures. Sorry, getting tongue tied over here. Those kind of things. I would say that's probably something people will need. But like antidepressants, get that shit out of your life, man. That was the worst time of my life. Feeling like a zombie and not feeling me for who I was. It's like I was just a shell. I was like a foot behind me looking at me, but as a shell of who I am, and I hated that feeling. Um, so that is something for a lot of people, especially nowadays, you want to get past. Because I promise you, if you don't take care of your upstairs, you're never going to get better. Period. No matter how hard you try. I think that's a problem for a lot of people relapsing. I think that's the reason for a lot of self-hate, self-doubt. A lot of people take kratom to get off other drugs, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. And if kratom works for you, by all means do it. But for the people shouldn't shun other people for wanting to get off or thinking, oh, well, I take it every day. Great, man. That's awesome. Good for you. Because there's days I want to get back on it. I mean, I do. I hurt a lot. And when it's freezing, I'm out here in the elements. I'm climbing up stuff. I'm sitting under here. It's swelled in. Got fire falling all over me. It's freezing. My bones hurt. My joints hurt. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel great. I feel absolutely fantastic. And, it all starts with up here. Because it was hard. I had to deal with a lot of stuff. I mean, ever since that whole Spring Creek thing happened, it all went downhill. You know what I mean? I was homeless. I was gang banging. I was doing this. I went to jail, got in a lot of trouble. I met with a lot of wild women that ruined my life. And I got myself into a lot of crazy situations that I didn't want to be in. I've seen people lose their life a lot. And this stuff it just messes with me, And I mean, still to this day, I'm not saying I'm 100%, cured or whatever you want to call it, but it's manageable. I could now snap myself out of it before I go into a full-blown panic attack. You know what I mean? When I start thinking about stuff that's not relevant, when I start thinking, oh man, these people don't like me. Oh man, it's this or that and the other. And I'm just like, no. You're just too in your head about it. Like, oh man, oh, you're not strong enough. Like, fuck yeah, you are strong enough. You are strong enough. Stop that. And you just got to pull yourself out of it, because most of the people I hear, quit doing heroin and crack or meth or, even smoking cigarettes is super hard, So if you could quit that, you got this. You got a week of hell and then you're fine, man. You're fine, baby. Then you just keep going. But yeah, sorry, this is all if you guys ever wondered, this is all just one take, just rolling with it, no script, nothing. So sorry if it's kind of weird or awkward at times, but it is what it is. Yeah, so addiction, of all kinds. You don't have to be addicted to heroin to, feel what addiction is. People get addicted to food, people get addicted to feelings. You just got to find that good life balance, that comfort, because I'll tell you what, I wish I'd go back to kratom sometime. I wish I could smoke stoves again. But I fight that urge. I fight that feeling, because I'm better than that. And so are you. And yeah, just anybody have any issues, questions, I'm always here. I'm just some crazy dude with all these freaking tats that's been through hell and back. But, I'm not perfect. I'm just a human, but I'm pushing back, and so can y'all. So yeah. But yeah, kratom has got me through a lot of that stuff, and I'm thankful for it. Again, I will continue to stay kratom free for my own personal, self. But that's it. I'm sober. I'm loving life. I don't condone a lot of stuff, but stay free, everybody. All right, this video's gone on long enough. I appreciate everything. You guys are amazing. I love when you guys comment. Again, this blows my mind. I don't even in the real world. I'm I'm just a dude. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate everybody and everything that everyone says because I read every comment and I try to get back to them. Um, it's just mind blowing. So I thank everybody and have a blessed day. Auf Wiedersehen. Stay free.